Hello my lovely fellow adopters, would-be adopters, or those that are interested in children's challenging behaviour and trauma, child abuse, etc. If you think that any of those things will be useful to you in your current life, then please hit the pink subscribe button that you can see down below on the screen. So today we're going to get more into attachment. There's one video already that I've made, which is a basic video about attachment, and this is all about the beginnings of attachment disorder or attachment problems. So I have trained in early childhood studies and also in trauma connected to communication disorders. So I have a little bit of background knowledge about these things. I'm also the adopter of 2 boys. So let's get to it. What is the beginning of attachment difficulties and how do they arrive? How do these things start to happen? So how is this relevant to you as an adopter, foster carer, etc.? So if you imagine, first of all, when a baby is born, they have the propensity to get your attention because they're cute, they cry, they let you know when they want things, they need things, and you come straight to them and you meet their need. So first and foremost, a baby is there to attract the carer to look after them, and generally speaking that's what carers do, or that's what the primary attachment giver does. They are there to meet the needs of that baby on demand. So every time the baby's need is met, the baby cries, the carer, the attachment giver comes along and they satisfy that baby's needs. So that baby's brain is developing in a way that's telling them, by way of the concepts and the brain connections that they're making, if I ask for help, I will get help, and that help will come quickly. So generally speaking, most families where you have the main caregiver, who is then the primary attachment figure, is going to meet the needs of the baby or younger child enough times, or enough percentage of times, for that baby to make positive connections and build a secure attachment, which is the opposite of an insecure attachment, which I will make further videos on. So that's your average family. So flip that to another side and imagine a situation where that doesn't happen. So a very young baby or young child is crying to have their needs met, and those needs are regularly not met. So in the end, the baby will give up the, shall we say, the passion to try and get that attachment figure to meet their needs. And the more that happens, the more the baby decides that there is no point in actually trying anymore, and will not cry out for what they need, whether it be a nappy changed, feeding, warmth, too hot, too cold. In the end, they'll stop asking and stop looking for those needs to be met. And also, as the crying is not attended to by the primary caregiver or attachment figure, the stress levels in the baby reach a heightened level, and whilst that is happening, trauma is being experienced. So needs not being met, stress, trauma, and whilst trauma is happening, the brain shuts down, it can't cope with processing things, and that is when you have poor connections being made in the brain. So this baby is not thinking, if I cry, my needs will be met. If I cry, my attachment figure will be there to provide safety and help and warmth for me. So those connections are not going to be made in the brain. And in the end, that baby or child will stop looking, stop making eye contact, stop crying, stop giving non-verbal clues to the attachment figure, and the attachment figure will stop meeting the needs, and it just goes round in a circle. So the baby stops asking, and more the attachment figure stops giving, and that cycle continues. And the lesser brain development type connections happen. So then what happens is you, the adopter or the foster carer, are going to come in, and you have a baby or a child with poor attachment. So they're not going to give you the clues as much, or they're not going to be able to regulate. So they're potentially going to maybe cry all the time, or they're not going to give you the correct clues as to what they want. They're not going to try to engage you in the same way, or they might shy away from you. And the poor attachment is almost, you could link that by saying, poor communication to make those needs known, or poor self-regulation for emotion, not able to control the crying, not able to use those connections in the correct way to get your attention for the right things, and very, very difficult for you to read the signs. So you might find with a baby that has poor attachment already, you get very little eye contact. They might actually be very shut down, very, very quiet, or it might be that they're crying all of the time and they can't regulate the fear that their needs aren't going to be met. And so as an adopter or a foster carer, you're going to come in, and what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to build from the very beginning the fact that this baby is now going to have to learn to trust you as someone who's going to keep them safe and is going to meet their needs quickly. So particularly if you're going to be adopting a baby or a very young child, it's really important that as soon as the baby or child asks for something, that you meet that need really, really quickly, so that that young child gets the message that actually you are a new attachment figure and they can begin to trust you and they can begin to feel safe around you. And as you do that, you will be building in those foundations which potentially the child has not, or but child or baby has not had given to them in the beginning. And from that basis, you build a foundation so that in the end, the baby or child will feel safe around you, and you will become that figure that they look to for safety, for security, for warmth. And in the end, that will go over into love. You have to start with safety and security before attachment can build into love. That's the secondary side of it. First and foremost, that child or baby needs to know that they're going to be kept safe by you. So there's an awful lot of work to be done to keep responding to those needs really, really quickly. Good eye contact with the child or baby, lots of cuddles and warmth, sound of your voice is all there to start building in that good attachment from the beginning. So guys, I hope that helps you. That's just a little bit deeper from what we had before, and I'll be making some more videos on attachment styles, the different categories of attachment, and you know how attachment insecurity sort of presents itself in the way of behaviors for children. So if you find that this video is useful to you and you think you'd like to learn a lot more about adoption family life, then please subscribe to my channel. You will see the red button on my channel if you go back into the page later. And guys, I really look forward to sharing my adoption life stories with you and information to help you along the way. So goodbye and see you on my next video.